It's Mo. It is January and I want to start a new series, one that I've been teasing on my channel for a long time, and that is going through my basement box books. So these are kind of going to be similar to like a haul, except instead of a haul where I buy books, I'm just going to go through the books that I have in my basement. I have dozens of boxes of books in my basement, probably with hundreds of books in them. I estimate that I have around 500, but possibly more books in my basement box books at the moment, and I really need to go through them, make the hard decisions of getting rid of some of them, see if any of them I want to put on my TBR because I have found gems in there before, or if I want to put them back in the basement. So those are basically the three options. Well, and there's a fourth option, which is that it could go on my red shelf if it's like a comic or something like that. Now, the way I divide my shelves are by unread TBR, red shelf, which has collections of books that might not be read. So like I have all my Agatha Christie's on one shelf, even if I haven't read all of them yet. And then I have comics, which I do unread and read all together. The first box that I have is this big Bacardi coconut rum box. Ooh. And this is a box that I need to use to put other books into. And I already see that some of these are going to be comics, which is good and bad. I don't have a lot of space on my comic shelves at the moment, so I think it's going to be a tough one. And then I have a slightly smaller box over here as well, and I already have a book that my dad gave me that he was getting rid of that I am interested in reading, but I don't want on my current TBR. So we'll talk about that one first. That is The Lost Art of Reading Nature Signs. Use outdoor clues to find your way, predict the weather, locate water, track animals, and other forgotten skills. So this is like a guidebook slash instructional, but I think it's like funny as well. So it sounds kind of interesting, but it's not something that I want to read at the moment. And it definitely does not need to be on my physical TBR, which is over 600 books. And I need to be paring down, not getting more of. Another thing that might happen during this series is that I put books from that physical TBR into the basement when I have space in boxes and when I feel like I have books that I want to take off my current physical TBR. I don't currently feel that way because I have, over the last couple of months, been taking books down there. So I also tried to pick basement box books that I didn't know what was in them and have probably not been touched really since we moved into this house, which was in 2015. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I am going to log the amount of books that were in each box total, the amount that I unhaul, and the amount that I keep. And the ones that I keep, I'm going to make a spreadsheet of. I don't exactly know how that's going to look yet because this is the first time we're doing it. So let's just get started with the first box. The first book that I see is Come Over, and this is by Linda Berry. Linda Berry is a comic book artist, and a lot of people really love her work. I think she might be queer, which is fun. I think with comics, I'm going to keep them all. I'm going to keep them out, but I might end up unhauling. Maybe I'll do another project where I go through all my comics and unhaul if I need to. The next two I see are also both comics, and they are Sock Monkey comics. These are by Tony Millionaire. They are very cute. Beautiful illustrations. The next book is also a Sock Monkey book. I love the cover of this one. Next we have Thomas Mann, Stories of 3 Decades. I have a feeling that this was not originally mine. I have a feeling that this was originally my husband's. I don't think I would need to keep this one, but since it might be my husband's, I'm going to ask him about it. So I have 3 piles. I have keep out, put away, and unsure / unhaul. Next we have The Writer's Guide to the Business of Comics by Lorene Hines. This one seems to be an actually like book about writing comics. I don't think I need to keep this one. I'm gonna put that in the unhaul pile. Ooh, we have Skeleton Key, The Celestial Calendar by Andy Watson. I remember really liking Skeleton Key. Very pretty illustrations. Oh, this is another one. Beautiful book. Sleepwalk by Adrienne Tomine. This is short comics and other stories. Tomine. Oh wow, and this one actually has a signed original print by Adrienne Tomine, and it is 493 out of 2000. Next we have a New Yorker with a Booth comic on the cover. So this one, I definitely don't want to keep a whole New Yorker, but like the idea is that you keep the Booth cover. So This one I'm gonna have to like look into. I'm confused about this one. So I'll put it in the unhaul / unsure pile. Next we have Ireland, A Graphic History. This has a ticket from the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Salvador Dali exhibit from 2005. Pretty cool. This is like a particularly ugly graphic novel. I think I will take out the ticket. Ireland, A Graphic History by Morgan Llewellyn and Michael Scott is not really appealing to me. I'm going to put this on the unhaul pile. We have We're Writing the Constitution by Jean Fritz, pictures by Tommy DePaolo. This is a children's book. I'm sure I have this because it's Tommy DePaolo. I do love children's books. I think we can keep that one out. I think a lot of these comics are in here because they're not comics I was like super interested in. Detectives Inc. Don McGregor, Marshall Rogers, Gene Colan. Looks like an old timey. I don't know if it actually is or it's just designed to look like that. I'm also not interested in that one, so we'll put that in the unhaul pile. Next we have ISM, which is a like music / literary magazine. It is from summer 2006, and I see it has Beck. First actual book, Detroit Aces, the First 75 Years. This is a baseball book, so I might keep this in our baseball reference section, which is not going on my physical TBR, but which we do keep out and about. The Drink and Dream Tea House by Justin Hill. Never heard of this. This looks like it is a white man writing about a Chinese protagonist, so I think I'm going to put that in the unhaul pile. We have Walter Mosley, All I Did Was Shoot My Man, which is a Leonid McGill mystery. I've read one Walter Mosley before. I did enjoy it. This is definitely part of a series. This one I don't think I would keep on my physical TBR, but I am going to look at it, look into it, see where it is in the series, and I might put this back down in the basement. Next we have a L'Oreal King book. I really used to love L'Oreal King, especially her The Beekeeper's Apprentice series where a young woman and Sherlock Holmes investigate. I don't think this is one of those. Sounds interesting though. It's about a 52-year-old woman moving into a mysterious house that her uncle left her. This one sounds good, but not something that I need on my physical TBR, so I think that we'll put that back down in the basement. We have Freaks Alive on the Inside by Annette Curtis Klaus. This one I think is a circus book, and I always loved circus books, and I know I started collecting them for a while, but it is a YA book, so although it's something that I probably would have read back in the day, I might not read it now. There is a Guided by Voices coaster from 8/3/99 and a Brooklyn Lager coaster, so that's fun. We'll keep those out. Next, we have Empire of the Sun by J.G. Ballard. Love this copy. Very cool cover. I have a J.G. Ballard on my shelf that my dad gave me. This is like a modern classic, I'm sure. I think we will definitely keep this one, but put it back in the basement. Next we have a pretty moldy looking Terry Brooks book, which is Running with the Demon by Terry Brooks. Terry Brooks, as far as I know, is a fantasy writer. I don't know. I think I've read Terry Brooks when I was a teenager, but I really don't remember. This one does have a very cool inscription, and that says, "Happy 14th birthday. The time I spend with you makes me so very happy. I hope to spend many more years knowing you. Love, Aaron." From Sean. So that is very cute. I definitely don't want to keep this book, but I do want to take a picture of that inscription. Next, we have The Last Apprentice, Night of the Soul Stealer by Joseph Delaney. This looks like a YA fantasy. Ooh, it has a really creepy picture on the back. Beautiful illustrations. Gorgeous. But I do not think this is a book that I need to keep. It does have a bookmark from Bartleby's Books, which I believe is in Vermont. Yes, in Brattleboro, Vermont, North Main Street. I'm going to keep this, but I am going to unhaul this. We're doing good so far. Another comic is The Mighty Skullboy Army, and that is by Jacob Shabbat. I have Little Gray Men by C.S. Morse. Both of these I will keep on my comic shelf. And then I have Tales of the Unexpected by Roald Dahl. This is a collection of stories. And there's a post-it inside that says, "Funny how people stand and watch the rain. Johnny Depp Pit Wagons." and it is from the Colonnade Hotel. Roald Dahl, I feel like, is always worth keeping, especially any stories that might be not children's stories. So I definitely don't want to put this on my TBR, but I also don't want to get rid of it. We will be putting it back in the box. And actually I'm going to use this box because it's in pretty good condition to put things back in. Let's count what we've done so far. How many books were in box number 1? 4, 25. So there were 25 books in box number 1, and we are keeping 5 that are going to go back in the basement, and we are putting out on the shelves 9. That's 8 comics and a baseball book. So let's put these back in here. Now we can move on to the next box. I think some of these are a little bit more recent because I do see Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, and I think that I actually had this one out on my shelves for a while and I put it away. So I have a feeling that these are going to be books that I put away since I had my channel, but I probably have never talked about. Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. This could definitely be a keeper, good vintage copy. We'll put that back in the basement. Then we have Invaders on the Moon by Chris Neville. Great cover, definitely keeping that one. Next we have American Rust by Philip Mayer. This is a novel. Philadelphia Town, American Rust, Lost Dream. This can get unhauled. Next we have In the Drink by Kate Christensen. This is a novel. I have a couple of Kate Christensen books, and I think it's because I know someone named Kate Christensen, and I always associate the books with that person, even though she is not the author. So I don't think that I need this one. Next we have Emmanuel by Emmanuel Arson, translated by Lowell Bear. Isn't this like a sexy book? I think we can keep that one since it's translated and look into it later. Next we have If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor by Bruce Campbell. You know what? This would be a good one for Garb August. I know the Garb August Wasted Weekend is coming up, so I might keep this one out and maybe consider it for Garb August. If not now, but maybe for August. Next we have Take the Cannoli, Stories from the New World by Sarah Vowell. I read one Sarah Vowell book before. I think it was Vacation something something. She's like a travel writer. Take the Cannoli, I believe, is a reference to The Sopranos, which I never watched. So am I interested in this? I don't think I am. It says home movies, postcards. These are like memoir essays. I don't think I need this. It did have this bookmark from Santa Fe, New Mexico in it. Big Star Books and Music. I'm definitely going to keep that. Here's another Bruce Campbell book, Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way. This is probably another silly memoir slash whatever. These are a lot of like mixed media, so that's kind of neat. I'm going to put this one back in the basement. I don't want to get rid of a Bruce Campbell book. I do love Bruce Campbell, but I don't need 2 Bruce Campbell books out. Next we have The Naked Sun by Isaac Asimov. That's definitely staying, going back. Next we have King Arthur and His Knights of the Round Table by Roger Lysine Green. This looks very cool. Has some illustrations. I can't tell if this is a novel or a history, but we're going to put that away. We'll keep it though. I have Mark Twain, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. I feel like this is a good vintage book to keep. This is a beautiful vintage book. I cannot read what it says. Oh, this is Wonder Book for Boys and Girls by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Beautiful vintage book. We'll keep that, put it back in the basement. Here is a book by James Baldwin, Nobody Knows My Name, More Notes of a Native Son. Definitely keeping that. I didn't know I owned that. Amazing. Noel Coward, Pomp and Circumstance. We can keep that for vintage. Here is Pretty Dead by Francesca Leah Block. I love Francesca Leah Block. She did the Weetzie Bat books. This is a super short book. Looks like it's maybe about vampires, and it has a bookmark from the Northshire Bookstore in Vermont, which is a great bookstore. I'm going to keep this one out, actually. I do have a Francesca Leah Block section on my read shelf. I probably didn't put it on there because it was unread. Here's another literary and graphic and music magazine. British Comics might be why I got this. Oh, I know. No, I don't know. I don't know why I got this. Oh, there's Tank Girl though. I do love Tank Girl. I think we can put that with the comics maybe. Next we have Cradle of Splendor by Patricia Anthony. It's a very phallic cover. Looks like a sci-fi. Written sci-fi. I think I have to look into that one more. History's Worst Invention and People Who Made Them. Illustrated edition by Eric Charlene. This seems to be like multimedia timeline of bad inventions. I definitely don't need that. I don't care. I think my friend Craig gave me this one. Great Modern Short Novels. This has Lost Horizon by Hilton, The Red Pony by Steinbeck, The Third Man by Graham Greene, Single Pebble by Heresy. First page is ripped out. It was a discarded copy from a library. The Light in the Piazza by Elizabeth Spencer and Seize the Day by Saul Bellow. All of these sound interesting, but I actually am interested in reading The Third Man by Graham Greene. I think I saw, was it Rick McDonnell read that one a few years ago and like it. Definitely going to keep this one, but probably will put it back downstairs. Know that I have it, but I don't need to like keep it out. So in these basement box books somewhere, there's gonna be like a million Sherlock Holmes books that my good friend Alex gave to me when he was getting rid of them. And my intention was to read like all of the Sherlock Holmes books that I ever got because that sounds so amazing and I love Sherlock Holmes. But I think it's time, since they've been in the basement and probably were in boxes before then for years and years, that I can give up on the majority of these Sherlock Holmes books. This one is Murder in Baker Street, New Tales of Sherlock Holmes, and it's featuring stories by Anne Perry, Lauren Esterman, Gillian Linscott, Peter Tremaine, Stuart M. Kaminsky, John L. Breen, Bill Kreider, Howard Engel, Carolyn Wheat, L.B. Greenwood. So literally I have not heard of a single one of those. I don't need this book. I'm going to unhaul it. Next we have No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. I've never read a Cormac McCarthy, but I know my husband likes him. Wow, this is like all dialogue. Interesting. I will keep this one. I will put it back in the basement. Next we have Anxiety Disorders and Phobias by Aaron T. Beck and Gary Emery. I don't think this was my book either. I think this was my husband's book. I do not need this book. I will definitely be unhauling that, but I will check with my husband and make sure it's okay. In the Shadow of Sherlock Holmes, classic detective fiction, edited by Leslie S. Klinger. This seems to be short stories by various authors. They all have little bios in front, so I think that they're like contemporaries of Arthur Conan Doyle, which is kind of interesting. Here's the contents. I've never heard of any of these people, so I am going to unhaul this one. The Food of Love by Anthony Capella. This seems to be a literary fiction. I definitely don't need it. I hate the cover. Hate the cover. Where's my pen? Where's my stuff? Box number 2. How many books do we have? 1, 2, 3. 24 books. 3 of them we're keeping out, putting on the TBR. 1 was a comic. Well, it was a literary magazine, but we're going to call it comic. 12 we're putting back in the basement. Out of 49 books, we're getting rid of 17. We are keeping the rest, and we are putting most of them back in the basement. Pretty productive. Let me know what you thought about this haul, unhaul, basement box books unboxing. It's got a little bit of everything. Let me know if you recognize any of the books that I mentioned here. Let me know if you have any thoughts on any of them. I will see you next month for several more boxes in this series. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!